Good afternoon, this is Dr. K, and I would like to talk to you about the project life cycle. This is week 2 of our course, and it's an interesting, a little bit changed from week 1, but we get into some things that are much more fun. So let's start by looking at objectives, readings, and resources. This week, we're talking about the project life cycle, and that's kind of how projects are chunked into smaller bits so that the risk of everything failing isn't as high. And we're still in the preliminary parts of the PMBOK guide. We're in section 3, which talks about some of the overall ways that projects are divided up, but it doesn't yet get into how an individual project should be managed from beginning to end. And Schwalbe in chapter 2 and 3 is talking about those same things. The next activity that we have is a document called Writing Responses in PRM 600. And if you take the time to look at this document, read through it, and perhaps also listen to the video that explains the document, it will give you some insight into how academic writing and graduate level writing is graded and how you can improve your skill. After that video, we go on to the team project overview, and that's actually treated in a separate video. The assessments that we have for this week include another quiz. If you found the quiz difficult, you may want to read with an eye to what the main concepts are. You also may want to look at quiz 2 first, then do your reading, and that will help you pick out answers to the specific questions. Also remember that your quiz is focused on what the important concepts are for the week. Another question that we have is discussion, and that's about the project life cycle. And in this case, we're asking you to really talk about more methodologies. I worked at an organization that had a 500-step new product development work breakdown structure. And they had broken that out, those 500 activities that had to happen from a new product from the time it was conceived of until it was introduced. That was broken down into 10 separate phases. And that was their methodology. And whether it was a little project, a little product, or a big product that was being developed, every product still had to go through these same steps in the project life cycle. And at any point during that, they could kill the project because it failed in any phase of that project. So what we're looking for today is a little discussion about the cumbersomeness of using these methodologies for simpler products and simpler projects, and how does using these methodologies help and how does it hinder, and specifically how do you tailor items. It's interesting because in the new version of the PMBOK, which is coming out in 2017, they actually have a new section in each process which describes how that process might be tailored to fit more accurately to the project that you're working on, which is very cool. And yes, I do know that only project management geeks would think that the new PMBOK guide is very cool. So your initial post is due on Wednesday. You will get some points for that. And So remember that for that time period until you start posting responses, it may show that you're at 50% for the grade, but that's just because Engage is summing the individual points that were awarded for each one of your assignments, each one of your posts. And you can look at an individual post and see how many points that individual post was awarded. You can also get to your 15 points any way that you want. Let's say that you did your initial post and you didn't put any time into it and you only got 2 points for it. Well, you could go ahead and do 8 really good responses at 2 points apiece and come up with the full 15 points. It's up to you. See how your week works out for you. After the discussion, the next discussion is for the team project, and you will be divided into teams. There are specific instructions there, and there's a separate video that talks about how that all works. And finally, during week 2, the answers for quiz number 2 will show up on Friday. Thank you much for your time. I hope that's useful.